The seasonal depression came early. That's what happened. Derrick Henry, his parents must have prayed a lot when he was in the womb and was like, "Please, dear God, give us a light," because he defies all nature, dude. He ran like 21 miles per hour on that initial run for 85 yards, and I was like, "This will be a long game." The Bills just couldn't stop the run. If you look at the Ravens' offense, passing-wise, they need some help desperately. I know Lamar's showing some accuracy and stuff like that, but it's still run first. And how do you not run when you have a freak of nature like Derrick Henry who just craps out 200-yard games in like multiple 1,000-yard seasons, and then you got Lamar Jackson, who's arguably another track star. So
hello, everyone, and welcome to the Beardzone Sports Talk, where the only thing we're biased about around here is our beards. And I got Scooter, I got Carlos, and today we're going to be breaking down everything NFL from what happened last week. There were some games last week that we definitely want to talk about, to some games that we are looking forward to this coming week. But before we get into all of that, go ahead and do us a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, because that is the best way to continue to support us as we grow this NFL season. Fellas, we need to talk about this because this team is currently on a winning streak, and the two teams that they have beaten were two teams that we thought that they were going to lose to. Sean Payton and the Denver Broncos, they're winning right now, and I don't know what to say. Their defense is really good, though. Their defense is really good, and Bo Nix is managing the game well. So, what should the AFC? Oh, the AFC West ain't going to worry about the Broncos with the Kansas City Chiefs in it. But should the Broncos fan have some glimmer of hope, have a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel vision here after what we've seen from this team the last couple weeks?
I mean, you still got to play the Raiders and the Chargers, and the Raiders can't seem to show up for two complete games in a row. The Chargers, I really wish they would stop choking when they have the game in the bag, man. Oh my gosh. And the refs didn't help the Chiefs this time. But the Broncos, Sean Payton is a good coach. Oh, sorry, that hurt. As a Bucs fan, that really hurts.
Yeah.
He's a good coach. You have to hand it to him. He was dealing with a mediocre offense and a pretty, as we're seeing now, solid defense, right? They're playing good pass defense. They're getting after the quarterback. If they start clicking on offense, I think the AFC kind of has an issue, at least for a wild card team. I don't think the Broncos are a playoff team currently because there's a lot of gaps in that O-line, and Bo Nix has got to at least pass the ball more than 150 yards and start actually scoring touchdowns through the air. I mean, but Sean Payton's doing something right. It's like Mike Tomlin with the Steelers. We're like, okay, these teams are very questionable on offense. We don't know how they're going to do. They're decent on defense. And here we're talking about the Broncos. Man, I was wrong.
Yeah, I did not see them beating the Jets this week. I don't know what to credit it to, though. I mean, the Jets have been so inconsistent this year. I just feel like that Aaron Rodgers can't get that offense clicking the way that he wants to. And the defense that was so good last year, not to say that they're, bad this year, but we just have not seen them play up to the level that we expected them to play. So, but the Denver Broncos, I did not have beating the Jets. I don't think any of us had us beating the Jets in our picks this last week. So I mean, but can the Jets go on and they are going to be playing a 4-0 Minnesota Vikings team, and Sam Darnold with this team is, I mean, gosh dang, dare I say it, an MVP candidate at this point right now because of everything that he's doing with this offense. But do the Jets need to be worried about losing yet another game, international game this week against the Minnesota Vikings?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
The thing I read with the Jets is that, which is weird because I saw so much stuff in the preseason about Garrett Wilson and Rodgers being on the same page last year. This year's a little different. You saw a little bit of arguing and some stuff. And Matt Ryan had a very good take that on Monday that Rodgers better walk in there and go, "Hey, you guys are on my page, not your pages. Your pages don't work. I'm the guy. Everybody gets on my page," because they're off sync. Even at the end of the game where Garrett Wilson runs a route that he's not supposed to, he should have turned it up, went up the seam, and Rodgers put the ball there. So they've got to get it together very much. But Rodgers has to at some point put his foot down on this team and be like he did with the Packers. This is my football team. And I don't know if he can do that. It seems like some of these guys are pushing back on him, and it's really Garrett Wilson, which kind of sucks because the guy's, I think, a stud in the making. But they've got to get something together soon. Their defense is playing good. I mean, they held the team to 10 points. If your team held somebody to 10 points every week, you would take it and you would figure, heck, that's a win. But it's not looking good to them going into next week. That's not looking good for them. I don't know if you can clean it up in a week. Like they've
Especially
got
international travel.
Yeah.
And then they got this thing with the cadence, and then they had the 5 false starts this week, but it's been working for them. So now the head coach for the Jets, he's talking about getting rid of it. Rodgers doesn't want to. Like, nobody's on the same page. Like, at the end of the day, whose team is this? And honestly, when Aaron Rodgers and any quarterback is at their best with Tom Brady, Eli Payton, it is their team. I don't care who the head coach is. Pat Mahomes, that is his team. Andy's there, he's calling plays, and it's not that way with Rodgers. Like, there's a power struggle of who's actually in charge over there. And honestly, it's your quarterback, man. Your quarterback makes or breaks your team. As the Dolphin fans, yeah. I don't want to go into more of that.
Absolutely not on the same page. They're not synced, whether it's the wide receivers. The only team that seems to be in sync is the center and the quarterback of Aaron Rodgers, right? And you hit the nail on the head. If you're a senior quarterback who's proven themselves to be a Super Bowl winner and multiple MVP guy, like, that is your team. And you own the playbook. You say, hey, this is what I'm seeing. This is how we should play. We've played these guys before. I've played this coach before. I know this scheme. Unless things drastically change with the Jets organization, Coach Salt? Shayla, yeah. Like, he's got to come to grips with, like, hey, I know I'm the Hefe, right? I'm the one in charge. But, Aaron, you got to run the offense. Like, the offensive coordinator, head coach, and the quarterback got to get on the same page, because what we're seeing is just a bunch of attitude and dudes just trying to get their ego rubbed. And then you got to go up against Ginger Jesus in a foreign country. The Vikings defense is no joke this year. The secondary is definitely clicking, turning the ball over. You got Sam Darnold, who's probably one of the front runners for MVP. He may not have the most passing yards, but he's kicking ass on these touchdowns, man. And he's not turning the ball over. You get Aaron Jones kind of looking like his Green Bay self, right? Before he had that really off year before the trade, right? But then you got Justin Jefferson. Addison's back. Kevin O'Connell is a genius for whatever he's got going with Minnesota. And if the Jets just can't pull themselves together, man, that's going to be a rough game.
Yeah, I can get out of hand really quick. And, you guys were sitting here talking about how Aaron Rodgers needs to make it their team. If we flash back to 2020 when Tom Brady came to Tampa and they had that that kind of rut right there in the middle of the season where they were beating beatable teams, but then anytime they played an actual, playoff contending team or, a more high caliber team, they just were off sync. And then they had that bye week. And in that bye week, there's that conversation that was held between Tom Brady and Bruce Arians. And at the end of the day, Tom Brady just said, Bruce, I know what you're trying to do, but it ain't working. I need to start calling the plays. I need to start calling the shots. That's exactly what happened. And then they went off to win the Super Bowl ultimately. I mean, they went on a great run there. And that needs to happen in New York because this team can compete with anybody on paper. This team can compete. They have the talent, and you don't ever count out a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers and the weapons that he has around him with Brees Hall, Garrett Wilson, even Alan Lazard, right? I mean, Tyler Conklin isn't even that bad of a tight end. So this team's got to pull it together. They are going up against a very hot team with the Minnesota Vikings, and I mean, gosh, who would have thought that we would have been sitting here week 5 and been like, Sam Darnold and the Minnesota Vikings are looking pretty dang good. You know, I mean, first of all, we didn't even think that Sam Darnold was going to be starting, right? We all had JJ McCarthy. Now, of course, he goes down with an injury. No one could foresee that coming. But Sam Darnold coming from this San Francisco offense, run, Kyle Shanahan. Is Kyle Shanahan just the greatest quarterback guy like ever to live? Because we see him do what he does with Matt Ryan. We see him do what he does with Jimmy Garoppolo, Alex Smith, or no, not Alex Smith, I'm sorry, but Jimmy Garoppolo, Brock Purdy. I mean, it doesn't matter who's at quarterback. This guy just produces winners, and he produces guys who we see exactly what Sam Darnold is doing. Not turning the ball over, making the throws that he has to make, getting the ball out quick. And, it's not all on his shoulders. And it's just a well-oiled machine. So nothing to take away from, the head coach there for Minnesota, Kevin O'Connell, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Kevin O'Connell. But I mean, gosh dang, man, Sam Darnold, good for him.
Would you have taken the bet that Sam Darnold would have more passing yards than Pat Mahomes right now? Somebody told you that.
No.
I'll bet you $100 that this would happen.
Gosh.
And Josh Allen. Nobody would take that. Everybody would take that bet. Yeah, and of course he's not going to have as many. And this guy has got more yards than Pat Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. Oh man, the guy's balling.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to Sam Darnold, but let's go to Patrick Mahomes. He suffered. They got a win against the Los Angeles Chargers. Los Angeles Chargers didn't look that bad against them. I definitely think that they're on the right path with Jim Harbaugh and everything that he's trying to build there. Let's just say this. Joe Alt, as young as he is, in the NFL, this guy's absence is severely felt. And we saw that this Sunday when, Justin Herbert was underneath all the pressure that he was under. And then, of course, J.K. Dobbins. I mean, look at the production from J.K. Dobbins from the first couple of games when Joe Alt was on that offensive line to the last couple of games when he's been off. I mean, it's been significant. So they are severely missing him. But Kansas City suffers yet another blow. And it looks like Rashee Rice might be out for the entire year, if not the majority of the year, which really sucks for the Kansas City Chiefs because he was definitely a go-to guy for Patrick Mahomes. They do have Xavier Worthy, and we saw that Xavier Worthy can be a deep threat because we saw that in the game on Sunday against the Chargers after Rashee left the game. But I mean, man, how long can the Kansas City Chiefs ride this? I mean, are they just never going to lose? Or, I mean, are all these injuries and all these, just kind of because they're not playing their best ball. We've got to agree. The Kansas City Chiefs aren't looking like the Kansas City Chiefs that we're used to, but yet they continue to win. So, is the downfall coming for them, or is this just something that they're going to be able to smooth out?
I hope so. That stupid Patrick Mahomes is going to cost me my fantasy football league. What kind of idiot goes down low on his own player? I don't even know what he was doing. Rice is causing the fumble to get the ball back. And then Mahomes thinks it's a good idea to cut. What are you doing? You're the quarterback. Go somewhere else, man. Go look pretty for the camera. Do something. But what in the world is he doing? I mean, Rice is coming back. He literally causes the fumble, and this guy decides, let me go down and chop block my star receiver. Oh, man. I'm telling you what, I was heartbroken. It cost me two losses in fantasy because I got 0 points out of a guy, and I barely lose. So, selfish me. But I think it is kind of remarkable that they're 4-0. They have Kelsey He looks out of shape. He just doesn't look like he. You can tell he went on tour with Taylor and didn't do any football. They, that's a huge weapon. Now Rashee Rice, Worthy is not. I think Rashee Rice is better. I think Worthy is more dynamic, but overall he's becoming that safety valve for him. They don't have Hollywood Brown, so I think eventually it catches up to him. It's got to at some point, man. But
and they lost Isaiah Pacheco.
Yeah, and Pacheco's out, but freaking Kareem Hunt decides, I haven't played in a couple of years. I'll just come back and do well. So, but they got a great offensive line. I mean, they got a good offensive line. So, Andy Reid will find a way. The guy, he knows personnel, and they'll figure it out. They'll probably win again this week, and then we'll just be like shaking our head, like, what the hell?
I think Goodell finds a way because that right tackle is always lined up and jumping off sides. At least like
every play. It's amazing. Yeah. Like a ref could just hold the flag in the air and just be like, "Hey, man, as soon as the ball's hike, it's coming." This guy is never on sides.
I don't understand how they don't get that call. There's maybe like 3 plays the entire game where he's not jumping off sides. The NFL's got to do something with these illegal formations. And the getting the Chiefs for what they deserve, man. They're jumping off sides. The right tackle is atrocious. I got it. Mahomes is your boy, Goodell, but man up, bro. Like, you need to call a spade a spade. Mahomes is up for a GOAT conversation if they can continue to win with like third string wide receivers, and your top draft pick is your top wide receiver who weighs like 100 pounds. Soaking wet. Travis Kelce does look out of shape. You nailed it on the head there. I just don't think he has the step he had last year. I think his routes are still very clean. He's still adaptive, but I just don't think he's got that like that Travis Kelce pizzazz in the middle of the field, man. And he's adapting on the fly. I got it, but Mahomes is not meeting him every time like they used to. And I think it's going to start clicking as we move forward and we watch some of these games and they start getting kind of the comfortableness, and that, Andy Reid, like you said, finds a way. He's a mastermind of the game. It's like watching like Reid and Tomlin that just know what the heck they're doing. And at the end of the day, you cannot go into those games knowing, they don't have everyone. We'll probably win this game. You can't do that. Like, I understand the Chargers had some injuries and a couple turnovers, and watching Mahomes take his own guy out is hilarious, but that's kind of rough to see. When you watch that in slow-mo, you're like, I felt that. But
hopefully he doesn't have an ACL tear. That's not
that was rough. Yet. But I just – 2 things with the Chiefs is Goodell has to get after these refs. They're watching that right tackle go off sides at least 90% of the time is really annoying. And they called it on the Bengals and a bunch of other teams, and they won't call it there. But, like, Mahomes is making stuff work with Andy Reid, and they're making up plays. Kelce will eventually get back on it because, no, Taylor Swift's not at the games. Yeah, I got it. Whatever. No one cares. But after you get the reps and you get the routine, he should have had the routine already, but he's getting it more dialed in as we watch this unfold, and the Chiefs still pretty much own the West.
Yeah, well, let's stay in the AFC West and talk about a wide receiver, because a wide receiver just today announced that he wants to be traded, and I think we all kind of saw this coming, but Davante Adams has officially come out and said that he wants out of Las Vegas, and there are 2 teams that have appeared as the front runners, with one of them being the Jets. Now, obviously, that seems to be the favorite landing spot for him because of what Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams was able to do in Green Bay. And, I'm sure that the Jets fans would love that. I don't think there's any, there's no such thing as, too many weapons for an offense, especially in today's NFL. But do you see Davante Adams going to the New York Jets, or is there a sleeper team out there that you guys feel that he might be able to land with?
Man, imagine him and Rodgers back together again. Those guys were definitely on the same page. Holy mackerel. But I do have one. I think the Commanders. I think they've got money. they have nobody on the opposite side of Scary Terry. Man, he would juice that offense up for sure.
And make Jaden Daniels that much better.
Yeah.
I would have to go with Rams or the Bills. Rams because of the injuries, and Stafford needs somebody to throw to. Oh my God. That just like all their dudes are injured. Then you got the Bills. Yeah, you got Shakir, you got Coleman, you got Kincaid, but Josh Allen needs somebody that's running a clean route to get open. Devontae's got one of the best releases in the entire game I've ever seen. And it would just help them out immensely going vertically down the field.
Yeah. I think that it's going to be the Jets ultimately. I mean, I think that we've kind of seen this on the writing on the wall for the past couple of years, but I do have a sleeper team that maybe isn't necessarily a sleeper, but it's no one that none of us want to see it. That's the Chiefs, though. I mean, they're down right now in their wide receiver room, and Devontae. I don't think he would throw a fit about being traded to the Chiefs if he were to have a say in this trade. I'm sure that Andy Reid and the Chiefs can come up with something to go ahead and give him that, because I mean, if you really think about it, a lot of their offensive weapons are still kind of on their first year contracts, so they might have a little bit of space that they can move around to make this happen, and help them chase that third straight championship ring. But it will definitely be interesting to see. Go ahead and leave us a like or a comment down in the comments and where you think Davante Adams is going to land. We would love to hear from you about that. But let's move to another team right now that Carlos, you kind of touched on it, and I know that you don't necessarily want to talk about this, but we got to talk about your Miami Dolphins, because holy crap. I mean, the Miami Dolphins have, yes, they suffered Tua. Tua's not out there now. Skylar Thomas isn't out there, and so they're down to, the water boy at this point. So, but they did not have a good game against Tennessee. That had to be one of the most boring Monday night games I've ever witnessed. There was a period of time where I had the game on for I think about like 5 minutes or so, and not a single play happened because no one was on the same page. The refs were trying to figure out something, and they panned the camera to Mike McDaniels, and he was just standing on the sideline like, I'm like, what's happening right now? Is there an injury that we don't know about? Like, what's going on? Because there's no football happening right now, but it was a boring game to say the least. Of course, Tennessee Titan fans are excited because they finally get the win, but they get the win against a very banged up offense with Miami. And that offense does not look the same with Tua. So this has to lead us to our next topic of conversation. If Tua decides to retire, what is your option at this point? Are you guys trying to tank now to get a top draft pick?
I don't think they're trying. Well, Tua's coming back. He's already said he's coming back. He's not. He's coming back. It just shows like it's either that offense is so complex, and I mean Tua had it down to a the science. This guy's making behind the back passes, like all kinds of crazy stuff, and he knows where to put the ball. And that's the problem with you bringing anybody in. Even Skylar was having troubles, and then he goes down. I mean, at least he's got 2 years under that offense, but you can't expect anybody just to come in off the streets like Hutley, like, hey, we need you to, figure this out. And their O-line has actually not been playing bad, but they can't run the ball. It's just everything is at the quarterback, man. The quarterback doesn't know where to put the ball, and they don't, man. I don't know what they do, but he's coming back. It's just a matter of when. But their season is going to be shot. If they don't win this weekend against New England, I don't know at that point you're done. Unless a miracle he comes back and they just run off like 8 straight games. But if for some reason he doesn't, hey man, you got the draft. There's some good quarterbacks coming out next year, and we've highlighted this guy before. I can see Cam Ward having a field day in that offense. He's got a gun cannon. He can throw the ball far to get to people. He's got crazy arm angles where he throws the ball, and he's already running. Everybody runs an RPO now, so. But they've got options in the draft, and at this rate, they're going to have a top 10 pick. So you've got Ewers coming out, you've got Beck coming out, you've got Ward coming out, you got Sanders coming out. I could see Sanders doing well in this offense. So they've got options in the draft. So, I mean, of course, Tua needs to do, and I always say, being selfish as a football fan, he's got to do at the end of the day what he's got to do. And I know he just signed the big contract. He doesn't want to lose the money, but I mean, at the end of the day, your health is more important than anything. So we'll see if he comes back and he has another one. Then I think he's done at that point. But they got options next year. I don't think it's a terrible thing. You just hate for a rookie quarterback to come in. It takes time with this offense to learn.
Yeah, I mean, Cam Ward in that offense would be incredible to see. And I mean, for him to stay in Miami, I mean, it's almost like the NFL scriptwriters couldn't write it any better, So
and you free up $50 million. So
and it would free up
point,
$50 million.
You go out and get you an offensive lineman, maybe another defensive player. Hey man, it's not all bad.
It's not. It would not be all bad, but I know that you guys would love to have Tua back at helm.
Yeah.
It's obvious that without him, it's going to be very hard to win. So he is the difference maker for that offense. Let's go to Scooter. Let's talk about our team, because our team had a rough week last week against the Denver Broncos, or 2 weeks ago against the Denver Broncos. We already kind of touched base on that. And then they faced against the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, I get it, the Philadelphia Eagles, they were banged up. They didn't have A.J. Brown. They didn't have Devontae Smith. But it wasn't about the defense. It was about this offense. This offense was firing on all cylinders, and Baker Mayfield is hot right now. Now, they go into a short week this week, and they play the Atlanta Falcons in Atlanta. So it's going to be interesting to see how they prepare for this game. But I like us this Thursday. I know that we'll get into our picks, but I want to know what you see in this Tampa offense, because this offense, when Baker Mayfield is on, and he seems to be more on than off lately, it's very hard to beat this Tampa team.
I know you said offense, but I just keep thinking defense. Vita Vea is an absolute stud in the middle. He had to be double teamed the entire game, and he still disrupted the tush push and the goal line stands. And then you got Levante David, who had 8 tackles and 2 sacks. Man, we were getting after Jalen Hurts. Regardless if they had A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith out there, it might have made a difference. But our defense is clicking. We're getting pressures. We're getting probably not as many turnovers as we should be. But we're getting after these offenses, man. And I correct me if I'm wrong here, but the last 4 times we've played the Eagles, we've won. Yep. To include last year's run too. So Baker switching to the offensive side, Mike Evans getting double teamed and leaving Godwin open is a mistake. Then you switch to actually covering on Godwin, then you leave Mike Evans open. And then you got Rachaad White and Bucky Irving, Cade Otton. Gosh, can he just catch the ball? He had so many. The drops, Baker's putting the ball in the hands, and it's just drop city. Every pass I saw, I think 1 or 2 that were just off or he had to throw away, but most of them that he had for incomplete were drops, which is very abnormal for Evans and Godwin. But Otton, dude, Cade Otton's got to man up and just catch the dang ball. Don't wear gloves. Wear gloves. I don't care. Catch the damn ball. Rachaad White, I would like to see getting more involved in the run game. We need to get some push off the line for the offense. We're still very pass heavy, and that's what I worry about with Baker. Is when you start forcing him to make those difficult throws, and he can, but at the end of the day, he's still a gamer type quarterback, and he's going to force some really rough throws. I'm not particularly worried about the Bucs right now going into next week against the Falcons. The Falcons are showing some gaps in their defense, but their offense is just killing it. But the Bucs defense is going to keep them alive in almost every game. I think they're very underrated, and the Bucks offense, if we can just score like 2 to 3 touchdowns a game, it's going to be on. Because Mike Evans is still an elite guy. Everyone who says he's not in the top 10 is just hallucinating. Go talk to Aaron Rodgers for your next drug dealer. Chris Godwin has got to be one of the top number 2 receivers in an offense. Like, I don't understand. You got Trey Palmer, who's your deep threat. Just call him Xavier Worthy with like half a step or something. But I think what really hems the Bucks up is if we can't capitalize on pushing a run game. Because Baker, when you're putting him in the fourth quarter, which one do you get? Do you get the interception Baker, or do you get the guy who just drops a dime 70 yards down the field?
Yeah. I don't know. I really like this offense. I know that the defense, obviously is making it very difficult, for the opposing team to move the ball up and down the field. But I mean, to me, they're inconsistent on the offense or on the defensive side of the ball. This offense, I feel like, is moving this team in the right direction. So yeah, I mean, I love everything about what Tampa is doing, and they're coming to a tough stretch here now. With their next few games, I know that they got some in division games, and then they have the Chiefs, the Ravens, and the 49ers. Kind of over the next several weeks within the mix of the divisional games. So it's not going to be an easy road, but I feel like that if we can, come out with, a couple wins, 2 or 3 wins in this stretch, we'll be looking pretty good to, help us stay on top of the NFC South, which we are currently at right now. So I feel good.
Was I the only one to pick the Bucks last week?
No.
David didn't.
Not.
David took the Eagles.
I tried to retract my statement, and then you guys.
I don't know how you didn't pick the Bucks. If you take Chris Godwin out and Mike Evans and put in whoever else you got, what's your offense? Nothing. And so they got lucky with the Eagles. You take out 2 Pro Bowlers, and what they got?
So you're saying that this game was a fluke? Are you not a believer in Tampa?
No, I think it's a good football team. I'm a huge Baker fan. I like the guy a lot, and Mike Evans. I think Mike Evans is, I don't know, say underrated at all. I think he has that respect. It's just like there's always Jamar Chase, there's always Justin Jefferson, there's the young guys, and let's be honest here. He's heading towards the way out, and these guys are they're in, and they're like their prime is here, where Evans is. He's on the way out. He's only got a couple more productive years out of him. But last year he ran up against the Eagles when they were on the huge downside, and Plant High School probably could compete with them. And then you run into it. A.J. Brown is out, which is stud, and Devontae Smith, and they got nothing. So I don't know, but the defense, they played well against Detroit. They didn't play bad against Denver. I just don't know. Well, they did because they lost. But the offense didn't play very well against Denver. Denver's defense is just good. So, no, they're good. I mean, the Bucks, I give them their props. They were supposed to win that game, and that's why I picked them.
Name a wide receiver that has better stats than Mike Evans right now.
He's not my first pick at any wide receiver.
Career-wise, who has more touchdowns? Currently playing. It's not Devontae Adams anymore.
He's not my first pick. I don't think any of us here, if you hey, draft a wide receiver number 1 to play on your team, it's not Mike Evans.
Mike Evans has more yards and more touchdowns than Devontae Adams. And they've been in the league the same way.
It is. I would take him over, but I wouldn't take him over. I would take Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson over him.
CD.
Quickly. CD Lamb. Yeah.
It's because of the youth. That's it.
No, it's
that's exactly what Carlos was saying.
Yeah. I'd say Mike Evans is a Hall of Famer, and I'm not gonna budge from that.
No, he is.
He's still a number 1 wide receiver.
And he's done it with some crappy quarterbacks. So I mean he's legit. The guy is definitely I think he's a top 8 guy. But there's, like I say, he's on the way out. New guys are on the way up. He's got a couple more years of what is he in, year 10 or 11 now?
10. One of the two. Yeah. 10.
So he's drafted part of the 13 class. So probably
he's got another year or 2 left. You know how it is once you start hitting that 31, 32, it just drops off. Unless you're Derrick Henry, who defies all odds at running back. So
that's exactly what the game
Or
that we
Jerry
were going to get
Rice.
into next,
Yeah.
because the Buffalo Bills went into Baltimore and they played the Baltimore Ravens on Sunday Night Football after an absolute murdering that they did on national television against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, I get it, Jacksonville, Baltimore, two different leagues, but let me tell you what, I had to play against Derrick Henry in a fantasy league,
Ouch.
and the moment that man, how is this guy built like a linebacker? Maria, my wife, she doesn't watch football. That play happened, and she's like, "Wow, he's a really big dude. How is he running that fast?" Yeah, I looked at her and I said, "No one knows," because everything about this guy is just he's a walking. I don't even know. Hypocrite's not the word, but I mean, like he defies the odds of everything that is supposed to be logical, right? I mean, you're 6'3", 6'4", you're 250 pounds, and yet you're pulling away from safeties and corners once you get to that second level, and that's exactly what he did to start off this Sunday night game against Buffalo Bills and racked up an 87-yard touchdown, and then ended the game with 199 yards, averaged eight yards a carry. Lamar Jackson had a hell of a game, put up 3 touchdowns, two through the air, 1 on the ground. I mean, the Buffalo Bills in every form and fashion looked out of sync, and it was very surprising. I thought it was going to be a more competitive game, but it was just not their night. So shout out to the Baltimore Ravens. Scooter, as a Bills fan, right, or as the part of you have a lot of Bills Mafia in your family. What happened to you guys? Because this was not the Buffalo Bills we just saw a couple weeks ago.
The seasonal depression came so early. That's what happened. Derrick Henry, his parents must have prayed a lot when he was in the womb and was like, "Please, dear God, give us a light," because he defies all nature, dude. He ran like 21 miles per hour on that initial run for 85 yards, and I was like, "This will be a long game." The Bills just couldn't stop the run. If you look at the Ravens' offense, passing wise, they need some help desperately. I know Lamar's showing some accuracy and stuff like that, but it's still run first. And how do you not run when you have a freak of nature like Derrick Henry, who just craps out 200-yard games in like multiple 1,000-yard seasons, and then you got Lamar Jackson, who's arguably another track star. So, and just skinnier and moves a lot better. And on top of that, if Derrick Henry doesn't like shift on you, he doesn't run you over, he's still going to stiff arm you like you're a ragdoll, like he's done for half the defenses out there, man. And Tennessee's sitting there going, "Man, this was a really bad idea." Dallas is sitting there going like, "Man, we should have signed him instead of Zeke. That was a really terrible idea." And then you got the Bills defense, though, just looked incredibly embarrassed on the rushing attack. And you watch Josh Allen when they get out there, and you're like, why are we doing so many lateral passes? This is so stupid. It was like screenplay, wide receiver screen, draw play, wide receiver screen, draw play, dive play, wide receiver screen, wide receiver screen, wide receiver screen. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh, Shakir's down the field for 55 yards. And it's like, okay, well, Josh Allen also had to run an additional 35 yards in the backfield to go find him. So Bills offense needs to start clicking. That Ravens defense going from dead last in passing yards allowed, which means if anyone's watching, listening right now, stat-wise, the Ravens are the worst against the pass. And they completely embarrassed the passing offense of the Bills. They finally showed up. They got pressure on Allen. Allen was fine. He had a weird injured shoulder, and when he had the fumble, which, again, similar to Baker, there's always like turnovers every once in a while when he starts trying to game it out. But Baltimore just straight up embarrassed the Bills. That's just how it went down. Offensively, they couldn't find any passing rhythm. James Cook got like 2 yards to carry, which the rushing defense for the Ravens is very good. But the rushing attack, you might as well be watching an Army-Navy game because it was like, 300 yards on the ground or something crazy? And
Yeah, it was a lot.
Derrick Henry's still freaking nature 8 years later.
Here's a stat that kind of blew my mind with this. So Lamar Jackson, 13 completions of 18 attempts, right? So I mean, definitely he didn't throw the ball a lot for 156 yards. Of those 13 completions, who had the most? It was their backup running back Justice Hill
Yeah,
with
Justice Hill.
6. He led the team in receptions. They targeted him a lot, and I mean that to me is just and he's fast. Like he showed great burst, after he caught the ball. And so you're looking at this Ravens offense, or you're looking at this Ravens team, and they started out 0-2, and now they evened up and they're 2-2, and they beat two good teams. One with the Dallas Cowboys last week, and then they have the Buffalo Bills this week. So it should be interesting to see what is going to happen, but it's good to see that Derrick Henry is finally finding his rhythm there in that offense. So, but gentlemen, I think it is about that time that we get to the Beardzone game day picks of the week. That is right. It is that time where we go rapid fire through this selection. We are keeping track of our records. Our records are going to be right down below us. So that is currently our record. We are only 1 week into counting because we've missed a week. Carlos wants, justice for week 1 because I know that he had a good week 1, but honestly, none of us can remember. So, it just doesn't count, and we don't trust
12-5 week 1.
Yeah, you never trust a fisherman on how big the fish that he caught. So that's what we're gonna.
Your math isn't math. They're 17-5, but cool. There's only 32 teams in the NFL. Just saying.
And Scooter with the call out already. So, but let's get into this. Let's get into this, gentlemen, with kicking off Thursday night football. We already mentioned it. Bucks, Falcons. It's in Atlanta. Who do you guys have?
Dude, we got to go with the Bucks. We're running hot right now.
I had Bucks last week. I'm going Falcons. You like that?
Wow.
You like that?
No. You know what's funny is that Kirk Cousins, you like that, was actually against the Bucks team. So that's heartbreaking. I'm gonna go with the home team though, or with my home team. No, wait, no. I'm gonna go with my home team, Tampa Bay. I think that they continue the hot streak and stay on top of the NFC South. Next game we have the Jets and the Vikings, the international game. Obviously, Vikings 4-0, Jets 2-2 now, looking shaky. Do they get things back on track overseas?
Vikings.
Let's go, Ginger Jesus, Vikings. Ginger Jesus. I love it. I had the Vikings as well. I like them this game. I'm not gonna bet against Sam Darnold. Never thought I would say that, but I'm not going to bet against Sam Darnold until he proves me otherwise. Now we have a game. Panthers, Chicago Bears in Chicago. Caleb Williams gets another win last week after a 2-game losing streak. Panthers, Andy Dalton, they were in the game against the Cincinnati Bengals last week. How are we looking this week in Chi-Town?
Sticking with the Gingers. Let's go, Panthers. Andy Dalton.
Oh, with the Bears.
The Bears. Yeah, no, I'm gonna go do opposite of what I'm doing for Sam Darnold. I'm gonna bet against Caleb Williams every time until he proves me otherwise, because this guy has just not proven it so far. So I'm gonna go with the Panthers. Ravens, Bengals. Bengals finally get their first win last week. So they're not 0-4. They're 1-3. Ravens started off 0-2. This is an in-divisional matchup game. We thought that these two teams were going to be battling for first. That's not the case as of week 5, so that's kind of wild. But who do you have this week? Ravens, Cincinnati.
Cincinnati looks so sloppy. I don't know why, but they are not on the same page. They barely squeak one out. I got Ravens.
Yeah, I'm going with the Ravens. It does scare me about the stat you threw earlier. Their last place in pass defense, so that worries me a little bit. But I go with the Ravens.
Yeah, I didn't know about that, about the pass defense either. But, I mean, dude, the Bengals barely beat the Panthers. And no offense to the Panthers. I mean, with Andy Dalton, they definitely look like a different team. But, hot damn, man. I don't know what the hell is going on there. Just figure it out, Joe Burrow. So, but Bills Texans, do they get the rebound against CJ Stroud and the Texans this week in Houston? Hard place to play.
Dude, Texans have the 5th best defense in the 4th in sacks. Stroud is hot. I gotta take the. I don't know. I don't know.
Say it. Say it.
God. Let's go Bills.
Texans.
I got Bills. It's fine.
I'm going to go with Scooter. I'm going to take the Bills. I don't see Josh Allen losing back-to-back games. I think they have a good rebound matchup against the Texans. Should be a good game to watch, though. Colts, Jaguars. I mean, who cares? But, I mean, let's see. The Jaguars are currently 0-4. You know, I mean, it's just it's an absolute dumpster fire down there in Duval. But Indianapolis is notorious for losing in Jacksonville, and that is where they're playing this Sunday. Do they get the win?
I'm going to tell you why the Colts are going to win, because they got to upgrade at quarterback. They lost that loser that they had, and they went with, now they got a real quarterback with Flacco. Colts.
Dude, AR5 is such a letdown, and he's getting injured again. Yeah, every part of me wants to just root for the Jags, but they're, like you said, they're a dumpster fire. I got the Colts with Flacco coming off the couch, playing a round of golf and going, I'll get a dub for you.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the old man Flacco and the Indianapolis Colts again. I know that the odds, dude, I mean, Jacksonville is an absolute dumpster fire right now. I don't know what's going on with that. They need a complete shakeup. That's for another time. I was gonna say, is Trevor? Do we talk about Trevor Lawrence possibly being a bust? Is this a conversation or no?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, sounds good. But Caleb Williams is all right. So Dolphins, Patriots, Dolphins, Patriots. Can the Miami Dolphins win?
No, dude. I think just like Carlos, they're all leaving the stadium. And the Pats are going to squeak one out, man.
I will never bet against the Dolphins. But I got the Fins. I'm taking the Fins.
Taking the Fins.
Yeah, I'm taking the Fins.
Okay. I'm going to go with New England. They came out 1-0, beat Cincinnati. Obviously, I don't think that was a fluke because who knows what Cincinnati is. They haven't won a game since then, but they have been in the majority of their games this year. So I'm going to go with the Pats just simply because that Miami Dolphins team is not the same without Tua, and it's obviously needed. Cleveland Browns, Washington Commanders, the true superstar of the draft, Jaden Daniels, the rookie of the year, the guy who is going to have Caleb Williams, a forgotten boy, in a couple of years because he is now the golden child. Jaden Daniels and the Cleveland Browns. Who do we got, gentlemen?
I'm going to take the Commanders.
I mean, you're going to lose Deshaun Watson and all the strip clubs in D.C., so you got to take the Commanders. Dude, Jaden Daniels is looking very good.
Yeah, Jaden Daniels is legit, and gosh dang it, man, I hate it when we all pick the same, but it's Washington Commanders for me as well. Denver Broncos, Las Vegas Raiders, AFC West matchup. Broncos are coming off a 2-game winning streak. Raiders, we don't really know what's going on. Now there's that whole turmoil going on with Devontae Adams and him not wanting to be there. Who do we have this week in the Mile High City?
Going Raiders.
I don't know. Can they tie?
What?
Is that? I really don't.
We could tie.
If they lose, so here's the thing: if they lose Devontae Adams before the game, Broncos, I lean Raiders because Antonio Pierce, and that defense is still very good. The Broncos haven't been able to show much on offense at all this season. Man, Raiders.
I'm going Denver Broncos. I like what Sean Payne and the Broncos are doing over the last couple of games. And I will say this, Cortland Sutton, even if he is matched up against Devontae Adams, he's been shutting down everybody. I said it last week about the whole Garrett Wilson matchup. Didn't like that matchup. Still played Garrett Wilson. Should have benched him because I had, definitely better players on the bench last week in my fantasy team. So cost me the win. But I'm going to go with the Denver Broncos this week.
Broncos do have the second best defense, so
telling you, man, they're good. So Arizona Cardinals, San Francisco 49ers. 49ers are banged up right now. Cardinals, gosh, man, you want to root for them, right? Because they look so good, but they've only been able to get one game. Can they get a game against their division rivals this week?
Nanas.
Dude, Brock Purdy is fantastic. He is the second best quarterback right now next to Geno Smith for passing yards and touchdowns. He threw 3 tutties last week. Come on, man. Even with a banged up 49ers, Kyle Shanahan's got something going there, man. That defense is nasty. I like the 49ers over the Cards.
Yeah, I'm going to take the 49ers as well, as much as I like what, Kyle Murray was showing us in the beginning of the year. I'm just not really feeling it too much anymore, and Brock Purdy is the real deal. So give me the 49ers. Packers, Rams. Packers lost to Minnesota last week. Jordan Love came back. Malik Willis is 2-0. Jordan Love is 0-2. Should they just rock with Malik Willis? What's going on in Green Bay? They're going up against a banged up Los Angeles. I just sent Scooter in a complete head spin of just so many different emotions. So, but the Packers go in to Los Angeles to play the Rams. Rams haven't been looking too good. I mean, injury bug got him again this year. I mean, what are you going to do? So, but who do you got?
Thinking the Packers, man. They got the leading interception guy, Xavier McKinney. They're going to lose Jair Alexander, but I'm going to take the Packers, man.
Stafford comes back from losses and he owns it and they move on. The Packers look so sloppy though sometimes. I got Rams. I'll be the odd man out here, I'm sure, but I'm going to take the Rams.
I'm going to go with the Packers. So you will be the odd man out on this one. But yeah, I mean, I didn't know. I think I flipped a coin for this one, to be honest with you, because I really didn't know, and honestly, I really didn't care. The New York Giants against the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle gets their first loss against Detroit. Still didn't play half bad against Detroit. I mean, to be honest, Kenneth Walker comes back, has a great game. So now they go up against New York Giants, who I don't know if Malik Neighbors is out. He might be. Who knows? I mean, that's their entire offense, it seems like. So who do you guys have?
I just want to know if Kenneth Walker is related to Rey Mysterio, because he did 2 backflips in one play and still gained some yards, man. The guy's a freak of nature. Geno Smith is the #1 passing quarterback right now. I'm taking the Seahawks, dude. They look good.
Yeah, the league neighbors, if he's not playing, it's too early. Like, if we knew he was playing up, but if he is playing, I would take the Giants, but I can't. I'm going to take the Seahawks.
Yeah, I got the Seahawks as well. And we move on to the Sunday night game. Dallas Cowboys versus the 3-1 Justin Field-led Steelers. What is happening right now? So they get the loss against Indianapolis, which I think I called that last week, so shout out to me. I mean, now granted, I owe everything to Joe Flacco and not Anthony Richardson, but a win is a win. But who do you guys have?
Potato. I mean, I don't know, man. The Cowboys can't seem to find an identity. The Steelers are somehow winning with a D-list quarterback. I have no idea. No, Justin Fields is actually playing quite well. He's not turning the ball over. He's showing his dual threat. And it's Tomlin, man. Tomlin at home. Cowboys.
Wow. Man, I
built that up.
I want to go with the Cowboys, but I can't. It's just too many injuries on defense. Parsons out. Lawrence is out. It's too much. I'm going to go Steelers find a way, man. I got the Steelers.
Yeah. I'm going to go with the Dallas Cowboys. As hard as it is to bet against Tomlin in Pittsburgh, especially on prime time, I don't know. I just don't know. I like the Dallas Cowboys. But I think I've been betting against the Steelers this entire year, and obviously that's not gone well for me, so who knows. We wrap up the week with the 4-0 Chiefs taking on the 2-2 Saints. Saints came off red hot this season, put up 40 points in both of their first two games. Alvin Kamara was all the way back. Derek Carr was looking like, old Derek Carr. And now they've just kind of looked flat-footed ever since then. So now they go up against a banged-up Chiefs offense, which we've already talked about. Can they get the win, or is it, Chiefs Kingdom moving on to 5-0?
I'm going with the upset.
Oh.
I'm taking the Saints.
Oh.
Cars they've been putting up points. Defense comes up big with the loss of Rice. They don't have to guard it. They can kind of hone it in on Kelsey. And the run game, and I guess Xavier Worthy. I mean, it seems like gimmick plays for him, but I'm going with the upset here. This is my upset of the week.
I do not like analytics, but I do like stats because I deal with that in my day job. Alvin Kamara is the fourth best rushing right now, and the Saints are fifth in turnover differential. Where do you see the Chiefs in any of these scenarios in the top 5, top 10? You don't. And total offense, defense. They're playing at home in Arrowhead on Monday night. They got the refs. They got Goodell. They got Taylor Swift. Travis Kelce looking like he's in a midlife crisis. He's probably going to score like 3 touchdowns. Give me the Saints.
I knew it. I knew after all of that, I knew that you were going to pick the damn Saints. I guess I'm just going to go. I'm going to go with the Chiefs. I don't think that the Saints are going to be able to walk into Chiefs Kingdom and get the win on Monday night. I don't foresee it happening. I think that the Saints are going to be starting to show their true colors. I get it. Stats say otherwise, but I don't believe in them. But that might just be the Tampa fan coming out of me.
100% is a Tampa fan.
Listen, all right, got to be, got to root for the home team. You know what I mean? So, but let us know who you think.
Pick against them last week,
and he ate it. He 100% ate it.
Listen, all right, listen. I tried to retract my statement last week, and you guys didn't allow me to. Anyway, let us know who your upsets for the week is or what they're going to be down in the comment section below. We would definitely love to hear from you guys. What's your picks like? Go ahead and play along with us. Rack up your totals, rack up your tally, and see if you can't beat one of us three. You probably will. Because Lord only knows that we're just 3 idiots talking football. But hey, we appreciate you guys. We love you guys for rocking with us all the way until this episode. Be sure to share this video with all of your family and friends. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, because that is the best way to support us. And until next Thursday,
Beardzone out. And here's where we record all the bloopers, everybody.
Yeah.